Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fans React. This is FanCast episode number 7, and today we've got another regular on the show from Fans React. It's Matthew Leader. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, no problem, Paul. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. How's this new lockdown affecting you today, mate?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's not as bad as the lockdown, obviously, in March, but I tell you what, this one, it's not even like a lockdown. It's just basically taking all the fun away. Do you know what I mean? They've closed everything, so I can't go out and do stuff, but I can still go to college and mix with hundreds of people. It makes very little sense to me, but but no, it's all right. I mean, I've got college now, so we're always doing something, so not getting too bored. But yeah, no, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Unless you enjoy going out and getting a loaf of bread, there's not much fun out there at the minute.
No, there really isn't. No, I had to do that yesterday. Yeah.
Well, at least we can get stuff. This time, I don't know what it's like where you are, but so far, there's still toilet rolls on the shelves. So it's
yeah, I know. I was surprised by that. I was really surprised.
Yeah. Anyway, as I mentioned just before, you are a regular on Fans React. What made you actually get involved with the channel, mate?
Well, I think the thing is that as the fans aren't allowed in the stadium now, and we're normally sitting in the stadium or standing usually side by side, everyone are watching the game, and I think as we sort of lost that and not in the stadium, we're not all standing side by side, and sometimes it can feel quite lonely, but it just shows that although we're not standing in the stadium together and we're celebrating a goal together, hugging random strangers, we are all in fact still watching, and we can all talk about the same thing. And although watching it, there's no fans in the stadium, you just know that there are those people watching. So it's really nice to come on here and come on YouTube and see, everyone is watching the same thing you were, and we're all together still. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah. I was hearing in the last FanCast to Tim that we've got a really good bunch of regulars that come on, give their opinions. Obviously, you say some people are really partisan out. Everybody's got total conflicting sort of views, but it works, I think, on the channel having that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good because not everyone has the same opinion, and obviously football is a world of different opinions, and it's really good to see because it makes the channel a lot more interesting. If everyone had the same opinion, then it wouldn't be as exciting. But obviously, it's really good to see everyone's reactions because they're all very different. So it's very good.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you being on there. I mean, I love your sort of input as well. I think you're very good with the camera, considering you're only young. Have you ever done anything like this before, or not? Like talking on camera, sort of thing.
I tried and failed a YouTube channel in like year 8, but apart from that, when I was at school and I was like 13 years old, but no, I think there's naturally, I'm quite an energetic person, and I think I try and put that on camera, and I think that's probably why I found lockdown quite hard, because I am just naturally an energetic person. I can't usually just sit down and just do work and whatever. I always have to be up and around and doing something, so I just try and get a bit of my energy through the camera, so it's good.
Yeah, you do a fantastic job with that. Considering I was just asking you before we came online here, you're only 17 years old, is that right?
Yes, that is correct, yeah.
So how long have you been a Sunderland fan then?
Okay, well, so I think I've always known Sunderland in my life. There wasn't a moment, like a day, where I just picked it up and like found it. It was always there, and I've always visited Sunderland because obviously my accent. I'm not from Sunderland.
No.
I'm from Essex as well. Which I believe you live as well.
Yeah, I didn't realise you were down this neck of the woods.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, just like West Essex, just above North London. North Abbey is the town I live in. So yeah, I've always visited Sunderland. I've always been wearing a Sunderland kit, and I think, I mean, literally now, from the age of maybe 3, 4 to now, every single day I'll always have something Sunderland on me, whether it's just a shirt underneath or I say my wallet or anything. I'll always have something Sunderland on me. But if I had to put it down to a moment where I really sort of understood what supporting Sunderland was like, is remember in 2000, obviously you'll remember 2008 Sunderland versus Newcastle. We won 2-1. Kieran Richardson's free kick, and obviously I think how old I was, probably 4 or 5 by then.
Wow.
And I just remember, obviously when you're that young, you don't really understand what's going on. But I was sitting in the lounge with my dad and my older brother, and we were watching the game and we got the free kick. And obviously, I mean, I've always known as a kid, if you score a goal, you just go, hey, you know. And when I saw Richardson hit that ball and hit the back of the net, my dad's and my older brother, it wasn't just way. I mean, I was surprised the house was still standing when that ball went in, you know. And it was just that moment. It's just that joy, you know. It's that joy, and it really gets you. And I remember our first game was Fulham away, 2008, 2009. It was that season. And I can't remember what the score was. It might have been 0-0 or something like that. But I just remember the singing, the passion, and you know, it was amazing. And I remember my first ever home game was 2009 Sunderland versus Blackburn Rovers. We won 2-1. Kieran Richardson scored both times. And Sam Allardyce was the manager at Blackburn then. And yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible when I was there. And just, I think what I love most is just the togetherness of everyone there, you know. And that's something that I, you know, really, really gets me. And I'm very proud to support this club. You know, I wouldn't change it. I'm obviously surrounded by a lot of Arsenal, Tottenham fans.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't change it, because it's just that moment of joy when you score that goal. It's the best feeling in the world, and that's why we keep on going. And that's why I'm still a Sunderland fan and will be for life.
Yeah. So I'm assuming your parents are from this.
So my dad grew up in Sunderland. Moved down here 30 years ago to start this company. My mum's from West London, but she loves Sunderland as well, and definitely wanna, when they retire, because they are quite old now, so it shouldn't be too long. They do want to retire and move up to Sunderland. My mum really loves it there, and so
you'll go with them?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
That'd be amazing. It'd be totally different. It's totally different up there. I mean, you've spent much time up there, or?
Yeah, I mean, I go there many times in a year, and I think the thing is it sounds weird, because obviously I've lived down here all my life, and obviously I speak like this, and I've got many friends here, but I've been honest with you, I've never really ever felt at home here. I've never really felt at home, and as soon as I go to Sunderland and I'm there, and you know, it's just completely different, as you say, and that's where I sort of feel at home. And every time I have to leave, it's horrible, you know. So I definitely do want to live there.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. When I go back to visit my parents still live up there. When I'm driving, I always get the same point. I'm driving on the road and I see the pension monument on the distance. I'm like, right, yeah, I feel like I'm home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an incredible moment. It's such a long journey as well, isn't it? So you see the City of Sunderland sign, it's like, oh, thank God for that.
Yeah,
you know, it's a long journey, but you know, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think it takes us about 4.5 hours, but we usually stop halfway and have a little break. So
yeah,
it is a bit long-winded, isn't it? It's not too bad if there's a couple of years driving. So do you get recognised? So do people stop you if you've got your Sunderland gear on in Essex? Did anybody ever say anything to you?
Well, do you know what? Not too much, but I mean, a lot of people, I mean, our neighbours, you know, they're all very nice about Sunderland. And I mean, when I went to school, no one was nice about Sunderland. That's another, that's another topic. But no, not too much. So it is, you can sort of wear it around, and I think a lot of places here, there are sort of some lower league teams as well, and other people wear some shirts. But no, I don't think it matters too much. That usually gets stopped now.
So you've just touched on it there. You went to school and you maybe got a bit of stick from it. Was that quite the regular thing then? Was it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, going to school as a Sunderland fan was tough, you know. But you'd have these people who say, I was like, well, you know, what team do you support? Tottenham, Arsenal, and I was like, all right, but name me 5 Arsenal players. Yeah. You know, they all say, I mean, this has been Sunderland in the Premier League, and they'll say, oh, Sunderland's rubbish and whatever, and I'm like, okay, but I properly support Sunderland. You hardly support Tottenham. You don't even go to their games. I was like, I've been to White Hart Lane more than you, you know, to watch Sunderland play. You know, so I obviously think people are younger then, and you know they only see what's around them, so that's all they know. And so anything like Sunderland's that they haven't really seen, they don't really understand, they're very quick to just sort of criticise it and whatever. But I think now they can sort of look at me and just think, have a bit of respect that actually I am a proper football fan, and although I live 270 miles away from Sunderland, that in fact I do go to as many games as I possibly can, and I properly support this club just like anyone who does live in Sunderland, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's even more so when you live that far away. It takes a lot more commitment, especially when you're supporting a team like Sunderland that don't give you many happy times.
No, they don't. Yeah, that was really difficult because I was in school when we got relegated from the Premier League and relegated from the Championship as well. And you know, people laughing, and you just think, oh, it's such a bad thing. But no, I mean, I was so proud to support Sunderland. I was never afraid to hide it. Yeah. Anyone, not even who's close to me, anyone who just knows me, knows my name, knows of me, they just know that what my name is and that I support Sunderland, you know. And I'd always wear a Sunderland tracksuit and PE. You know, I was never afraid to hide it. So people could say what they wanted, but it would never change.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you actually remember your first game that you went to, or is it too far?
The first game I ever went to was Fulham away, 2008.
All right.
Yeah. And the first time game was obviously against Blackburn. But I tell you what, that game I went to against Blackburn where we won 2-1, that was in 2009. I never, ever saw Sunderland win again at home when I went to go see them from that until Scunthorpe at home, League One 2 seasons ago, 3-0.
That's mental, isn't it?
Every time I went, we either drew or lost. I never saw Sunderland win again.
So it was your fault. So you should have stayed at home.
Yeah, exactly. It's my fault. I know I should never have gone.
Yeah, no, fair enough. We played Mansfield Town the other day, which is actually my, I think I mentioned it in the last one, it's my hometown. I was there till I was 6 months old, so I don't really know much about the place. But forgetting that, what do you think of that result and performance?
I tell you what, I think the main thing I thought from that game is the team really, really, really needed a crowd there. Because there were times, especially towards the end of the second half, where we had to go on and get an equaliser, where the players, they just sort of kept passing it backwards and sideways. And me and my dad were in there just screaming at the TV, just go forwards. And if there was a crowd there, they would have, imagine if you passed the ball back when you need to go and attack, the crowd would have just gotten you back there completely. And, you know, but I think obviously it's a poor performance, but it wasn't like our sort of league starting 11 was playing, you know. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was very good for the players who obviously are trying to push into the starting 11 for the league fixture, because that was their sort of time to prove themselves. I think everyone was sort of off the pace. I think Grigg, I didn't really notice him too much, and obviously people kept saying over the last few seasons that he's not getting the service. Grigg isn't getting the service, but against Mansfield, I saw the ball go in the box many times, and no one was there. Like it was going over, and I was like, "Where's the strikers? Where's the strikers? No one's there." But you know, so it's obviously it's the FA Cup, and it's not the biggest deal in the world. Obviously, at the start of the season, we need to win the league and get promoted. We didn't go, we need to progress in the FA Cup and do well in that. So again, it's not the end of the world, but it's not, obviously you never want to lose a game. And it's a little bit embarrassing. It's against Mansfield. and the first round of the FA Cup as well. But yeah, no, it's not too good. But again, not the end of the world.
Yeah, so as you said there, it wasn't exactly our starting 11. There was a couple of players that sometimes get in the squad, likes of Power and Dobson or whatever. But how do you think the actual starting 11 have been performing this season? They've had some decent results, but what do you think of the performances? Is there something not right there?
What is this for the league starting 11? Or
Yeah.
Well, I think obviously the standout player everyone's talking about, which is a big surprise for everyone, is Ledbetter. Because obviously last season we were going, his legs have gone. He's never going to come back. He should take up a coaching role. But no, he's come back and he's just like got everything. He controls the team. He controls the game. And so that's been a bit of a surprise to me, but obviously pleasantly surprised. But for the rest of the team, they've been doing well. Obviously, Lee Burge, I think, a little bit of a liability for me. I think there's times where you're like, come out your box and collect it, and he's a little bit slow to that. I feel like there's always sort of a mistake in him, but I think we've got quite a strong defence where, we can sort of keep the ball away and he's not too bothered. Or the striker situation as well. I thought going into this season, Aidan O'Brien might be the main striker because, we haven't seen him. We've been quite unlucky with strikers. And I don't know what it is with the people who work at Sunderland where they love to sign strikers who can't actually score. Yeah. I don't know whose decision that is. But obviously now we have got a striker that can score. It's Big Chazza. He's been scoring every game now, isn't he? And that's been good. But for the rest of the team though, obviously it's a bit of a change from last season. Parkinson's still making his subs a little bit late, bit later than I would like. But no, I think we've got a good strong team there, a good solid squad, and it's just about, I think, being sort of proactive before games, obviously during games, for the rest of the season, really. Yeah. Because we've got to control people. We can't let the other teams control us. That's the thing. I think Parkinson, he sort of just chucks a team out, and then he bases his decisions on how the other team sort of controlling us. That's what I think. So we've got to just go out there, plan. We're gonna take complete control of them, and if it's not working, change that player, so we can do that. So I think just being a bit more proactive. But no, I think this season is our year. But also this season has to be our year, because if we do not get promoted, that's a disaster. It really is a disaster.
Yeah, totally agree. You touched on it there about Grant, but I think we can all totally agree with that. He's totally impressed us. But I think what a lot of fans, including myself, what I worry about is it's pretty much impossible for us to break. We've got no pace whatsoever, from the midfield right up to the strike force. We're not creating enough chances. We've got Hume who can sometimes run down the wings, have a bit of pace. 9's okay as well. But apart from that, to me, that is something that Phil Parkinson should have addressed. Do you agree? Is there anything? Tell us how you feel about Phil Parkinson. Is he doing it? Is he doing it for you?
This is what I think, and I think I've said this on Twitter before as well. The way I think you need to get promoted out of League One is to not really go on the pitch, pass the ball around, look attractive, play like a Premier League team. What we got to do is play like how Luton did a few seasons ago, and even Wickham. Just go out there, just cheat, time waste, get a lucky goal, and just ruin it for the other team. And I think that's what Parkinson does. Obviously, you'll notice that at the end of every game, people aren't happy with the performance. And I think, they are right to not be happy with the performance, but we got the results still. And I think this is what Parkinson's going to do to get us out of League One. Get the results, but not so many good performances. And then when we do get the Championship, hopefully next season, hopefully we're playing in the Championship next season, we can start thinking about. For now, we've just got to sort of reevaluate what we're going to do and change the way we play, because I think that's how we're going to get promoted.
Yeah, totally agree. It's a good way of thinking about it, actually, because I'm one of the ones that have complained about the performances. I know my brother on Fans React, he was absolutely furious after the obviously
Mm,
Mansfield game,
yeah,
but whenever we put in a poor performance, he just hates it because he obviously can remember the days when we used to be Premiership. Is still very close in a lot of fans' minds that we deserve to be there. But you're right, you've hit the nail on the head. We're our League One team now. Phil Parkinson, I don't know. I'm still on the fence sometimes. I think out sometimes. I think, but
yeah, yeah,
who can we bring in for a start off, and
yeah.
what difference are they going to make? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know either, but it's funny how after, like, say, the Ipswich game, we win that 2-1, everyone's going, oh, well done, Parkinson, well done, well done, well done. Even, some people weren't, but, a
Yeah,
lot of people were. And then we lose to Mansfield, and literally every other thing I see is Parkinson out, Parkinson out, Parkinson out. We can smash Fleetwood tomorrow night and go and beat MK Dons, and everyone's, well done, Parkinson, he's done it again,
yeah.
So
It's typical fans, isn't it?
yeah. Obviously, it's weird how that works, but I don't think Parkinson. I wouldn't like him as our manager in the Championship, if I'm honest with you. But I think League One he might just do. And as you say, bringing another manager in now. First of all, the club can't afford it. They won't. They can't afford to sack Parkinson. Being honest, they won't. They won't. And obviously, who to bring in? Everyone's saying like Kevin Phillips and whoever. But the thing is, do you really want to bring someone in who hasn't actually managed, been the head coach of a team ever in his life, to be in charge of this team, and it's their sort of the most important moment in their 141 year history? Do you really want him to be in charge of that? It's a big job, obviously, and it's not an easy job. That's not an easy job.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't know if you've seen it. I did a little poll on Twitter, and I think there's about 75% of 460 odd people voted Parkinson out. So it's a big majority of fans at the minute not happy with them. What do you think about this takeover that we've been talking about for decades now? Do you think it's going to happen?
So the start of last season, with the proposed Dell takeover from obviously Michael Dell and whoever they were, the three others. Obviously, that was a big thing being spoke about, and we all thought it was very close to being done. And I remember at Peterborough away, we lost 3-0 that day. That wasn't a very good day. And my dad spoke to Tony Davison, who was the director. He was there in like the beer garden before the game, and he just went up to Tony and just said, "How's the takeover going?" And Tony Davison, he was just like, yeah, brilliant, really good. It's really moving along. Like, he was really confident. He's like really confident. You just think, well, like, this could happen. And I don't know what it was, but it just like never happened.
Yeah.
And whether that was Donald was asking for too much money, and it's not good. But I think Stuart Donald only came in this club, and as much as whatever he says, he came in, and if he didn't get promoted in the first season, obviously, and he didn't. That was his plan. If he got promoted in the first season, everything would have worked out perfectly. He took a chance, and in all fairness, we nearly got there. Just one game away, and I think that game, obviously the playoff final, it really annoyed me that day because just the players didn't turn up. They just didn't turn up, so obviously we failed in that season, and we are where we are now. And it isn't very good, but obviously I don't think it's going to happen this season. Maybe at the end of this season, definitely if we get promoted, because then Stuart Donald can get the most money for it. Because why would he sell it now? Because when he can get more money at the end of the season if we go up. So
yeah, I said exactly the same thing. I think on the last FanCast as well. It just wouldn't make business sense to do it that way, would it? Do you think? I've asked this question before. I think everybody's given us the same one, so I'll just come out with it. Do you think the reason we're in League One is because Ellis Short had bad advice?
I think yes. I think he did. I I mean, where do I start with this? I've got so much to say, and as soon as I get the first thing out, I'll be waffling for ages. Okay, yeah. So I think how we kept on struggling in the Premier League. Like we kept on struggling, and we kept staying up by the skin of our teeth. And eventually, our luck was going to run out, and we were just going to free fall. That's what we're going to do. And eventually, that day came. But in all fairness to Ellis Short, he put all that money in from the very start. He came in while Niall Quinn was still the chairman, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he came in obviously with good intentions. He spent loads of money, but obviously he just had the wrong people advising him to do different things. For example, we turned down Virgil van Dijk and got Lamine Kone. And obviously at the time, Lamine Kone wasn't a bad signing. We quite liked him in the first season, with under Sam Allardyce. But imagine if we got Virgil van Dijk. Another one, we got Patrick Van Aanholt instead of Andy Robertson, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, Van Aanholt wasn't a bad player, but again, imagine Andy Robertson. I think Hull got relegated from the Premier League. We could have got him, but we chose not to. So it's just decisions like that.
Yeah.
Over and over again, we spent £13 million on Didier Ndong. I mean, that has got to be some of the worst money I think we've ever spent, because Didier Ndong, he's never played English football in his life. He came over and he was just like, he was. I mean, I thought he was awful. He scored a good goal at Crystal Palace away, but apart from that, no, I didn't think he was very good. And it was that we kept spending all this money on players that we weren't very confident that they were going to come here and do well. Say if we were going to buy someone I think we should have done this, bought other clubs as players from the Premier League for that amount of money.
Yeah.
We could have bought someone from another Premier League team who knew the league, knew the type of football that needed to be played, knew what to do, could have come here and done a good job. But sticking on the bad advice, but not quite on Ellis Short. Let's say obviously the name that's been thrown around for seasons now is Marcus Maddison.
Yeah.
Now, Marcus Maddison, he's a Sunderland fan, right? And he's also a very good player in this league. So straight away, he's a Sunderland fan. He knows what it takes to play for this club because he's just like us. He's supported this club. He's obviously a really good player in this league, but instead we just said no. He's a free agent as well, and we just said no in the end. And and now we lack pace and creativity, and he's literally it. He knows what it takes. He's got the quality. He's got everything we need, but they just don't want to do it for I don't know whatever reason, So it's just that I don't know what it is with this club, but it's just constantly bad advice being given, and I don't know. It was like that in the Premier League, and eventually our luck again was going to run out, and it has really, and it's going to be a long way back.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like the same old story with Sunderland when it comes to signings and things like that. What normally I would ask you what your worst and your best moments are being a Sunderland fan, but I think today I just want to know what your best one is. I think we've heard enough of the worst moments. People know there's loads to choose from. Let us know what your favourite moment is being a Sunderland fan.
Okay, so I've got a favourite moment, and obviously this is a moment I remember for the rest of my life. I was mascot for Sunderland in 2013. I was about 10 years old, I think. It was against Tottenham on the 7th of December 2013. It was a 2-1 defeat, but I walked out of John O'Shea and I led the team out, and I've got it on record, and we've still got it downstairs on the skybox. We've still kept it. And I give it all this to the camera as I'm walking out, and that was an incredible moment. It really was, to be on the pitch at the Stadium of Light and led the team out. That was brilliant. So I mean, if I had to say a favourite game, a moment where I've celebrated like crazy. Obviously, in my life there hasn't been a lot of them, because as soon as I was born, that's when the club sort of started struggling. Really, I think that's when the time sort of ended with Peter Reid, and then think we got my manager when I was born was Mick McCarthy, and I think that's to go downhill. So the best moment has got to be when we beat Newcastle last minute of the game, 2014, I think that was. And I just that moment. I mean, I was in my living room. You know, I wasn't at the game, but I was in my living room, and just when that ball hit the net, it was honestly it was the most incredible moment I think I've ever experienced in my life. My dad was upstairs on the top floor wrapping Christmas presents, you know, away from my little brother, so he couldn't see what was going on, because obviously, you know, someone else was meant to do that job, wrapping Christmas presents, and he was watching it on the top floor. I was watching it on the bottom floor, and we both of us celebrated at the same time. And yeah, it's just an incredible moment. But I could say that for all the Newcastle wins, because I've literally got memories of every single one of them, and it was literally like every time we beat them, it was like winning a cup final. You know, it was that feeling. It's absolutely incredible. You know.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't know what it is. I've been in a pub in Washington before. It was like Washington is like half Sunderland, half Newcastle, really.
Yeah.
So we were in a pub. Everybody was allowed in. You know, the atmosphere was fantastic. And when you win, I think it was. I'm sure it was that game. That you're talking about. And my dad, my brother were like, they were busy walking out the pub. They just think, oh, it's over with. You know, I was like, you know what? I'm seeing at the end, and just as they were about to go, we scored. And the atmosphere in the pub alone was incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally get that. As it stands, Sunderland's got some decent players, I think, for this league. Who would you say? Well, first of all, you can decide. I want to know who your favourite player is currently, and who your favourite Sunderland player is of your lifetime.
Okay, my favourite player at the moment. Now, I've got to say Grant Ledbetter. I've got to say, as soon as he came back to the club, I think not only his footballing ability, it's just the way he sort of conducts himself, the character he is, the way he speaks. I think it's absolutely immaculate. And how he was having an interview after the Ipswich game, and I think the interviewer, he asked him about, there was a blip in the season, obviously us losing, and he just went, no, there's no blip. We lost the football game. That's football, you know. And it's just the way that man speaks, and I think he's absolutely fantastic. And he's a Sunderland fan as well. And at a time where we're not all allowed in the stadium, at least we have a Sunderland fan in that stadium playing for our club. And you know, I think he's fantastic. But if I had to say for my entire lifetime, there obviously hasn't been many. There obviously, I mean, there is sort of one player that I really did like, but I don't think it's best to mention him. After all, he doesn't play football anymore because he ended up behind bars. But I think I've got to say, best player I've ever seen for me was sort of Jermaine Defoe, and just the goals he scored. I mean, you know, they just gave me sort of fantastic moments watching Sunderland, and it was sort of having a player like that as well. And obviously, when I went to school with a lot of Tottenham fans, you know, they all know who Jermaine Defoe is. So it sort of made Sunderland a little bit more like sort of like Tottenham, like Arsenal, and it made it a bit easier. It's great to see a player like that playing for our club, and so that was definitely sort of one of my favourite players ever.
Yeah, clearly Jermaine Defoe in recent times has been unbelievable. Sometimes you see some of his goals shared on Twitter, and I can watch them over and over again. Just absolutely love them.
He's one of the best strikers I've ever play for this football club.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely.
Yeah, totally agree. So anyway, is there any other teams you have a soft spot for, or any other sports you enjoy watching?
But you know, for teams, I actually have to say no, because I love Sunderland so much that it's hard for me to even like another club. You know, even I struggle to even support England, because I just can't get over them taking Sam Allardyce away. And even partly Jermaine Defoe, because, you know, he says, because I remember when he was at Sunderland, he was like, if I want to stay in the England squad, I sort of have to stay in the Premier League. You know, whether he would have gone anyway, but
Yeah.
obviously, yeah. So I sort of struggle to sort of like England, but for another team, no, not really, because it just doesn't feel the same. Me standing in a stadium of light or an away game, it's fantastic. But any other sports, to be honest, not really. There are sort of other sports I do enjoy playing, but nothing really I love as much as football. And anyone who knows me knows that football is the biggest part of my life. So yeah, that's that really.
That's fair enough, mate. In fact, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm pretty much the same with you with England. I've never been a massive fan of watching England because I think they just pick the same players, their favourites. It's not always who's the best players in England. So
yeah, exactly.
I
was speaking to my friend yesterday, and I said if Eric Dyer played for like Burnley, he would not be in the England squad. Because I don't think Eric Dyer is particularly that good playing for England. But I think because he sort of plays for Tottenham, then he sort of gets the England squad. It's like when Kevin Phillips played for Sunderland. He deserved to be in the England team.
Yeah.
But he wasn't,
Yeah, that was ridiculous, that, to be honest with you. Golden Boot award, and he's still struggling to get in the team.
Yeah.
Right, next question. What we've got here. Oh, yeah, if you were to place a bet on how many seasons it's going to be before we are back in the Premiership, if you think we'll ever get back there, and I was to give you £1,000 and you had to go to the bookies and place a bet tomorrow, when would you put the money on?
I mean, first of all, I have to wait until I'm 18, but oh man. See, the thing is I think we're going to do what Leeds United did, get back in the Championship, but be there for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so hard to think right now. I think I'm confident we're going to get promoted out of League One this season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously one. And then how many seasons do we in the Championship? I'd say, because I think we'll get the Championship sort of struggle. We need to find a way and find ourselves, and I think we'll do that. We'll manage to be settled in the Championship, and then we'll look to be pushing on for promotion. I think that's going to be a longer process than some people sort of realise. So I think maybe 3 or 4 years. So I'm going to say 4 years from now.
Not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, because I think Leeds were down there for many years, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
Can't
Leeds were one of
remember.
the best teams in the world, didn't they, Leeds?
Yeah.
Especially when we beat them in '73. They're one of the best in the world. And it's a shame for them because what a big club they are and the fans they have. So it's good to see them in the Premier League again, and hopefully it's going to be us in a few years as well.
Yeah, totally agree. There's so many big teams with big fan bases that don't deserve to be where they are at the moment. I think like Portsmouth, Blackburn, Ipswich even. They shouldn't be in League One. Do you know what I mean? So, right, we've got Fleetwood coming up next tomorrow. What do you think of that? What do you think is going to happen there? Would you give us a prediction as well, please?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always get predictions wrong, but I'll make it anyway. Okay, I'll say. See, it's gonna be a tight game because Joey Barton, you can imagine, is gonna want to come up to Sunderland, and he's gonna want to beat Sunderland. So I'd say it's gonna be 3-2 to Sunderland. I think we'll put out some younger players. I think we'll start Dan Neil, keep Jack Diamond in the team. I think we'll just start a lot of younger players. Obviously, there is that fair play rule that we have to start a certain amount of first team players anyway.
Yeah,
we can't just throw all the youngsters in. But I think it will be a really good experience for all the younger players as well, because they're not just facing an under-21 side; they are facing a team that is in the division with Sunderland, with a manager like Joey Barton who's going to want to get them players up for it. So it's going to be a big challenge for them. But I think it's going to be a good game. And hopefully the younger players can get us a result.
Yeah, definitely hope so. I totally agree with you. Getting like to Dan Neil, and he should be given a bit more of a chance, considering he started quite well in pre-season. We haven't really seen anything of him since, have we? Yeah,
it's been a bit frustrating not being able to see Dan Neil play, sort of play any games because he does deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to say, Aidan McGeady, when he's been kicked out of the squad, he's training with the youngsters. And then Phil Parkinson says, I want to give the younger players a chance. I haven't really seen the younger players get that chance that he's talking about yet. Yeah. So I think either Donald's keeping McGeady out or Parkinson just doesn't like him. So, because McGeady, he very clearly he says he wants to come back and play for this club, And I really like McGeady. I have to say probably McGeady's probably one of my favourite ever Sunderland players as well at the moment. I think the moment at Wembley that when he scored, and he's a very good player for this league. It doesn't really make too much sense to me that he's not in the squad.
Yeah. So do you think all the bullying rumours was a bit exaggerated?
It is, because why would he be training with the youngsters if it was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think McGeady went back on to see Ferry's show, the Open Goal podcast, where Lewis Morgan said that McGeady was ruthless, and he was telling all the players that they were never going to play at a higher division. And McGeady made a very good point where he said, well, all he said was he went back in there and said, hey, look, lads, I'm 33 now. I'm not going to be, it's very unlikely for me that I'm going to be playing at a high level in the future of my career. And he says, you can't be drawing 2-2 to Accrington Stanley if you want to play at a high level, And he said, he makes a very good point where he says, if Lee Cattermole or Kevin Ball said that, everyone would be like, that's amazing. But because he said it, everyone's all angry about it, But no, I think McGeady's brilliant because he really cares, and he has really big ambitions for the club. And I'm not saying the rest of the players don't, but McGeady has that quality and has the ambition. And to me, it makes very little sense that he's not in the squad,
Yeah, I totally agree. If we'd had a manager like Roy Keane or something, I'm sure Roy Keane would have patted him on the back for saying something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, coming after that on Saturday, we're back in action in the league with MK Dons, who haven't started very well, sitting 19th. I think we've got, I've got here, played 11, won 2, drawn 4, lost 5. What do you think is going to happen with that game? What sort of team do you think you should put out? And once again, if you can give us one of the predictions that you never get right.
Well, obviously, I mean, I think start same team we did against Ipswich, to be honest with you. Obviously, depending on how maybe some youngsters play against Fleetwood, obviously MK Dons probably. Actually, no, I'm going to take back what I said there, because I think last season we went to MK Dons away and just expected to win, but we really had to work for it. Really had to work for it. And in the end, it took a worldie from Lyndon Gooch just to win the game. We didn't just score an easy tap in, because Sunderland, I don't know what it is. No matter who plays for the club, players come and go, but it's just a club. They always make it difficult for themselves. So I think, start the same team against Ipswich. Obviously, as I say, never change a winning team. I think for my prediction, I think we'll go back to keeping clean sheets, and I'll say 2-0 to Sunderland.
Excellent. I'd take that right here, right now. That would be fantastic. Just to keep another clean sheet, get another 3 points on the board. Keeps the pressure on the teams above us. So, I'd be over the moon with that. Right, that's pretty much it. I've got one last question, which I ask everybody. It's the hate table. You've probably seen that before. We've got 3 people in it now, but I'd like to know any player or manager in any league who you dislike the most or hate, if you want to put it that way. Who would you pick?
So for a manager, we've got to say obviously Joey Barton, because then obviously no one likes him really. Yeah. And also I don't really like his name, Steve Evans, the Gillingham manager as well.
Yes,
I think he's
on the table.
Yeah. So I'd say definitely them two. They're not. If I had to say a club as well, I just don't like Portsmouth as well. I think all of them are. I was there last season. We lost 2-0. People were saying to me after the game, "Well, there's always next season. Well, it's just one game, they're all so just like arrogant, and And, you know, like they think they could lose a match 7-0, but they'd still go, oh, well, you know, we moved the ball well in the first half. You know, they're all like that, you know. They all think they're the best in the world. And I really, really don't like them. And it was horrible to lose at Wembley against them. So if I'd say a club as well, Portsmouth, just don't like at all.
Yeah, fair enough. So out of the Joey Barton and Steve Evans, we're going to pick one for the actual to go on the league table.
Joey Barton, definitely.
You're going to go with Joey Barton, right? Yeah. Joey Barton's way ahead in this league, which is pretty much, I think, what I expected when I started this anyway. But I just wanted to see if I wasn't alone on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is it. Actually, that's the end of the show. I really, really appreciate you being on. You've done a fantastic job, mate.
You're brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a great channel, and I think obviously Sunderland fans now have a big audience now on YouTube, and you know it's lovely to see, because especially when we're not allowed in the stadiums, it's nice to see all the fans on YouTube. You know, SAFC FanTV, obviously your channel, and obviously individual YouTubers are talking about Sunderland. So it's really nice to see.
Yeah, it is. I really enjoy it. I've got a few beers in SAFC FanTV, so it's like an hour. It flies by. I mean, we've been on here quite a while now.
It's absolutely brilliant. SAFC FanTV. I don't think there could be a better group of people started that channel, and I think I didn't know. I mean, a few years ago, I was like, it's a shame there isn't a Sunderland FanTV. But as soon as they've made it, it's just the right people to make it, and they're absolutely brilliant. I mean, Philly, his banter is the best ever. And he just says one thing in the one show, and it's fantastic, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, he's had years of practice, hasn't he? In the pubs, there, sort of ripping people to bits. So.
I mean, I was just to say, I'm actually scared to go to his show because I don't want him to pull me up on stage. Like, I'm actually scared to go to his show. But no, I think he's fantastic, and Sean Middleton, obviously Jacob, Michael, Dino, Mad Mistake, they're all really good Sunderland fans, and it's lovely to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're planning on trying to get 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if anybody's watching this and you're not subscribed, go over, subscribe to SAFC FanTV. A little sort of target for our channel. He turned around and said he would like us to try and get to 300 by the end of the year. If that's achievable, that'll be fantastic. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to this as well, click on that subscribe button. Give this video a like as well, a thumbs up. I'll leave Matthew's Twitter channel down below in the description if he wants us to put that out there, and you can check him out. But that's going to be it for today. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Matthew.
No problem, Paul. No problem.
Excellent. You guys take care for now. We'll see you later.